All right, just want to make sure. Okay, good. Okay, so we have wonderful verses to enter into this morning, focusing upon the 64 arts. And it's a very inspiring section of the Bhagavatam. I felt really grateful to see that these are the verses that we'd be going over today. So we'll go right ahead without any further ado. Share the screen. That working all right? Okay. So we'll be reading from the 10th canto, chapter 45, texts 35 and 36. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sarvam Naravara Shrestau Sarva Vidya Pravartakau Sakrini Gadamatrena Tau Sangya Grihatur Nripa Ahoratraischatu Shastya Samyatau Tavati Kalaha Guru Dakshinaya Charyam Chandayam Asatur Nripa. Translation and purport by the devoted disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. O King, those best of persons, Krishna and Balaram, being themselves the original promulgators of all varieties of knowledge, could immediately assimilate each and every subject after hearing it explained just once. Thus, with fixed concentration, they learned the 64 arts and skills in as many days and nights. Thereafter, O king, they satisfied their spiritual master by offering him Guru Dakshin. Purport. The following list comprises the 64 subjects mastered by Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram in 64 days. Additional information may be found in Srila Prabhupada's Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lords learned 1. Gitam, singing. 2. Vadyam, playing on musical instruments. 3. Nrityam, dancing. 4. Natyam, drama. 5. Alekyam, painting. 6. Visheshaka chedyam, painting the face and body with colored unguents and cosmetics. 6. Tandula kusuma bali vikara, preparing auspicious designs on the floor with rice and flowers. 8. Pushpa staranam, making a bed of flowers. 9. Dashana vasananga raga, coloring one's teeth, clothes, and limbs. 10. Mani bhumika karma, inlaying a floor with jewels. So we're going through this incredible list. Just for the sake of time, I'll drop the Sanskrit terms, but I want to definitely read out all of these wonderful arts. Covering a bed, wringing water pots, splashing with water, mixing colors, preparing wreaths, setting a helmet on the head, putting on apparel in a dressing room, decorating the earlobe, applying aromatics, decorating with jewelry, jugglery, the art of disguise, sleight of hand, preparing varieties of salad, bread, cake, and other delicious food, preparing palatable drinks and tinging draughts with red color, needlework and weaving, making puppets dance by manipulating thin threads, playing on a lute and a small X-shaped drum, making and solving riddles, capping verses or reciting poems verse for verse as a trial of memory or skill, uttering statements difficult for others to answer, reciting books, enacting short plays, and writing anecdotes. Krishna and Balaram also learned solving enigmatic verses, making a bow from a strip of cloth and a stick, spinning with a spindle, carpentry, architecture, testing silver and jewels, metallurgy, tinging jewels with various colors, mineralogy, herbal medicine, the art of training and engaging rams, cocks, and quails in fighting, knowledge on how to train male and female parrots to speak and to answer the questions of human beings, healing a person with ointments, hairdressing, telling what is written in a book without seeing it, and telling what is hidden in another's fist, fabricating barbarous or foreign sophistry, knowledge of provincial dialects, knowledge of how to build toy carts with flowers, composing magic squares, arrangements of numbers adding up to the same total in all directions, the use of amulets, conversation, composing verses mentally, designing a literary work or a medical remedy, building shrines, lexicography and the knowledge of poetic meters, disguising one kind of cloth to look like another, knowledge of various forms of gambling, playing dice, playing with children's toys, enforcing discipline by mystic power, gaining victory, and awakening one's master with music at dawn. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyarishtharini. So before we begin, I just would like to seek everyone's blessings, seek the blessings of Adi Purusha Prabhu, Arjuna Prabhu, all of the senior Vaishnavas present, and each and every one of you, so that we can have a meaningful, uplifting discussion this morning that is pleasing to Krishna and his devotees. So firstly, just want to share and exclaim, what a charming, wonderful list of arts, isn't it? Isn't it just incredible to see that list enumerated in that way? It just automatically brings a smile to your face to hear all of these wonderful, unique, fine arts that Krishna and Balaram mastered over the span of 64 days. So just incredible. And we can see how most definitely Krishna is the source of all creativity. And we will go into that this morning in our discussion. And one reflection that comes to mind upon seeing this list also is how, of course, all of these arts are originating in Krishna. But Krishna and Balaram, just as they take up their education with Sandipani Muni, though we know that Krishna is the possessor of 6 opulences, including knowledge. So it's all coming from him. In the same way, Krishna allows us to make offerings to him, though he is the source of all of those offerings. So in so many ways, Krishna is the embodiment and the source of everything. Yet at the same time, he allows these things to be offered to him, or he allows others to outwardly instruct him or teach him in arts that he is the ultimate source of. So how wonderful is Krishna that these loving exchanges are being facilitated in this way. Krishna wants loving exchange. He wants others to engage with him in so many wonderful ways. So in this way, he takes up the training in these 64 arts, although he is Kala Nidhi. He's the reservoir of all arts, all creativity. So we will enter into, I actually have slides, which is not something that I usually do, but I in the past had prepared one presentation on creativity in bhakti. So it just seems appropriate that we can look at some of these verses, some of these points this morning. So I'll share screen again here. Okay, and if everyone could just kindly let me know if you can see this and if the
Yeah,
size is all right.
yeah, the size is great. The colors are great.
Thank you, Ananda Vihari Prabhu. Okay, so we'll speak a bit about creativity in bhakti, because when we hear this list, wonderful list of 64 arts, it automatically brings about reflection upon where does creativity come from? How does Krishna inspire every living entity with Kriya Shakti, with creative energy? How we, as tiny parts and parcels of Krishna, also possess a creative impetus in our own small way, and which can take many wonderful forms, and which can ultimately be offered back to Krishna. So just wanted to briefly share that this kind of discussion is not only for those who engage in creative arts. Creativity is a very inherent part of who we all are. We're all creative in our ongoing activities, our day-to-day life. There's so many opportunities to make contact with creativity, so many opportunities to practice creativity in the way we move through this world, and in remembrance of Krishna, who is the original creator. So in Bhagavad Gita, we understand that Krishna is the source of all and is the original creator. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. So this is a line from the purport, from Srila Prabhupada's purport. He says, all Vedic literature agrees that Krishna is the source of Brahma, Shiva, and all other demigods. In the Atharva Veda, it is said, Yo Brahmanam vidadati purvam yo vai vedamscha gapayati sma Krishnaha. It was Krishna who in the beginning instructed Brahma in Vedic knowledge and who disseminated Vedic knowledge in the past. So Krishna is the source of all spiritual and material worlds, and he's also the source of all of the demigods, including Brahma. So Brahma is inspired by Krishna in carrying out the function of creation. So we often understand Brahma to be the creator, but he's inspired by Krishna in this function of creation, and he is created by Krishna. So this is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, chapter 5, text 17. So this is Brahma speaking. He says, inspired by him only, he's speaking about Lord Narayan, inspired by him only, I discover what is already created by him, Narayana, under his vision as the all-pervading supersoul, and I also am created by him only. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, even Brahma, the creator of the universe, admits that he is not the actual creator, but is simply inspired by the Lord Narayana, and therefore creates under his superintendence those things already created by him, the supersoul of all living entities. So this gives such a wonderful glimpse into the process of creation. Lord Brahma is creating the universe, yet he's taking inspiration from Krishna, who is the original creator, and he's creating what is already coming from Lord Narayan. These things have already been created, but Lord Brahma is taking the role of enacting the creation. So like in Ecclesiastes, I believe, in the Bible, it says there's nothing new under the sun. So in other words, everything is already there, but in the process of creation, we get to rediscover things sometimes. And in the process of the arts, we get to feel a sense of wonder toward Krishna's creation, toward what is already there, present in this world. But creativity is so wonderful that it allows us to appreciate on a deeper level what Krishna has created, what Krishna has placed before us in this world. So this is a wonderful picture of Lord Brahma, and from him is emanating all of the different arts, all of the different sciences. You can see on the right side, the Puranas, medical science, right? And also different rasas, different emotions are coming from Brahma also. And you see by his leftmost arm there, his upraised, not the one with the lotus, but the upraised one. You see sa, re, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, the scale of swaras, the scale of notes. Narada Muni is there over his heart region. So all of this incredible creation is coming of all of the different arts and sciences. Yet Brahma, as we know, is taking inspiration from the Supreme Lord, from Krishna. So in the following picture, we can see that though Brahma may have all of these different aspects emanating from him, we see that Brahma is taking inspiration ultimately from Krishna. So this is the cover of the Brahma Samhita text, where Krishna is playing his flute, and the sound of Krishna's flute is entering the ear of Lord Brahma. And in this process of Lord Brahma's hearing Krishna's transcendental flute, he is becoming inspired, and he speaks the poetic verses of Brahma Samhita. So this is the process of creativity. Krishna inspires, and then the one who is creating is not, who's taking the role of creator, we can say, is just sharing their inspiration from the ultimate source. So Lord Brahma speaks the beautiful prayers of Brahma Samhita through the inspiration of hearing Krishna's flute. So in the same way, all creativity in this world, even by ordinary living entities, and not like a Brahma, ordinary living entities, we're finding inspiration in what Krishna has already created. So many artists, so many poets are commenting upon the sunset, the sunrise, upon the flowers, upon the beauty of creation, upon human beings, other human beings who are inspiring them. All of this is coming from Krishna. I see that Bhima Prabhu has raised his hand. Please, Prabhu.
Haribol Prabhu, thank you very much for covering this subject. It's very dear to those of us who are, by virtue of our careers and stuff, have to engage or try to source that creative aspect. And I just wanted to make a note before you moved on. The word inspire, we often find some truths revealed when we do the etymology, and it's very simple, of course. Inspire is in, of course, inward, and then spire comes from the derivative spirit or spiritual. So the spirit within, as in Brahma, in the darkness was quiet and meditated, and then Krishna inspired him to create. So we always have to remember that it's just, and that's the humility of the whole aspect. That's that telling sign that even though we may come up, or not we may, but even though we are given a great idea and a means to manifest it out into the world, we do come to understand that Krishna is the ultimate muse here, that everything, he's the fountainhead. Savitur, is that the Latin word for fountainhead? Not Latin, the Sanskrit word, savitur, the fountainhead for all of our creativity. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Bhima Prabhu. I love what you said. And Krishna is the ultimate muse. It's so beautifully said. And yes, this is a very dear subject. This is a very dear subject to so many. And, for sure, I mean, I can just say, for myself personally, art and music and everything has been a very important part of my own journey. And that's what attracted me to Krishna consciousness initially, hearing the kirtan, seeing how artful the expression of devotion is in our tradition. So this next verse is coming from Chaitanya Charitamrita. So, Kriya Shakti Pradana Sankarshana Balarama Prakrita Shristi Karena Nirmana. Lord Sankarshan is Lord Balaram. Being the predominator of the creative energy, he creates both the material and the spiritual world. So again, Krishna as Lord Sankarshana, Lord Balaram is creating material and spiritual world. Another Chaitanya Charitamrita verse, this speaks about Krishna's creative energy. Dull matter alone cannot create anything. The material energy produces the creation by the power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Iron itself has no power to burn, but when iron is placed in fire, it is empowered to burn. So how wonderful the use of the word empowered there. So the creative energy, this Kriya Shakti, is coming from Krishna. And by that energy, we are empowered in our own small way to create. Brahma is empowered to create this universe. So it's all coming from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So as Krishna's parts and parcels, we have a natural creative impetus, however minute that may be. And so this is coming from a lecture that Srila Prabhupada gave on February 19th, 1972 in Vishakhapatnam, Sri Chaitanya Mat. So I'll read his very nice explanation. So Srila Prabhupada says, the jiva are explained in the Bhagavad Gita as part and parcel of Krishna. The example is given just like the fire, big fire, and the sparks. The sparks are small, but in quality, they are fire. They are not different from fire. So Krishna, he is all powerful. We are also powerful. Krishna can create. We also can create. Krishna can create, just like innumerable planets floating in the air. We can create a small, teeny airplane or Sputnik flying in the air. You see, so the creative power is there, but there is far difference between Krishna's creative power and my creative power. The difference between Krishna and me is this, that suppose I am painting one nice flower. So I require the brush, I require the color, I require the intelligence, I require the time, so that somehow or other, in few days or in few months, I paint a very nice color fruit, flower, or fruit. But Krishna's energy is so experienced that by working his energy, many millions of flowers, colorful flowers, come at once. So sometimes we hear, if you love the art, you should meet the artist, you should know the artist. So Krishna is such a wonderful artist that even the most skilled artists in this world, they can paint a beautiful rendering of a fruit or a plant or a landscape. But meanwhile, there are millions and millions of incredible, breathtaking landscapes in this world created by Krishna. And that's only in this world. So just imagine. So as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yad yad vibhuti mat sattvam shrimad urjitam eva va tattad eva vagachatvam mama tejom mumsa sambhavam. Know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. And the purport, any glorious or beautiful existence should be understood to be but a fragmental manifestation of Krishna's opulence, whether it be in the spiritual or material world. Anything extraordinarily opulent should be considered to represent Krishna's opulence. So beautiful. And also a reminder that the beauty that we behold in this world, sometimes on the spiritual path, we can become a little bit cynical about this material world, and that's for good reason. I mean, in many ways, this world is a place of illusion, and in many ways, this world is a place of suffering. And as we know, we're in Kali Yuga, the age of hypocrisy and quarrel. So there's a lot of suffering in this material world, but at the same time, the beauty that we behold in this world, it's not that it's false. It's not that it's Maya. That's a Mayavad conception. It's not that it's false. It's just one aspect, one small, incomplete aspect of Krishna's opulence. But it is Krishna's opulence, and in seeing the beauty of this world, we can remember Krishna's splendor, Krishna's beauty. So there's so much to be appreciated, even in this material world, that can remind us of Krishna and how glorious he is, and how everything beautiful in this world is a reflection of something in the spiritual world, and that Krishna is the source of all. So we also can aspire to offer back all that we have been given. So as we create in our own small ways, whether that's through artistic expression, whether that's through being creative in our work, being creative in our interactions with others, being creative in the way that we move through this world. Krishna consciousness really requires creativity, because in so many ways, you can say that we're doing something very unique and very radical in our practice of Krishna consciousness. We're seeing the world in a different way. We're aspiring to be agents of kindness and care in this world. We're aspiring to be really servants of Krishna. And what does it mean to move through this world as a servant of Krishna? It means you have to do things differently. You have to swim upstream sometimes, and that requires a lot of creativity. So we try to offer that back. Krishna says, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. And this will free us from bondage. So just a few considerations. I'm conscious of the time, and I want to hear everyone's reflections. I want to give space for that, because this is a really valuable dialogue. I'm so curious what everyone has to share about this topic. But just to share a few things to think about. Bhakti requires a lot of internal work and introspection. So we have our sadhana, we have our service, but you can say it's like a second track on the train, right? A train runs on two rails. So we have our sadhana, we have our service, but also we have some internal work and introspection that we try to uphold and enter into as we try to mature on the spiritual path. So internal work and introspection often can come through creativity, can come through self-expression. So do we have space for that? Do we have space for introspection in our life? Do we have space for creativity in our life? And it's something to prioritize, especially if that comes naturally to you, especially if that's something that's been important to you in your life and something that you feel brings you closer to Krishna. Self-honesty is very much required on the path of bhakti. We don't want to be duplicitous. Of course, there's a recognition that we may be far away from what our ideal is, or far away from who we really wish to be. That's not being duplicitous. But at the same time, we want to be honest about where we are right now. And one wonderful function of creativity is that we get to kind of take stock of where we are in our perspective, where we are in our connection to Krishna, where we are in our day-to-day experience. And in the spirit of sincerity, we can offer that to Krishna. Everything sincere is offerable to Krishna, even our struggles. We can reveal our hearts to Krishna and the devotees. We also don't want to compartmentalize. There's a little bit of a danger of compartmentalization, that, we're only offering certain aspects of our life to Krishna that we feel would be presentable to him. Of course, we do want ultimately to be fully presentable to Krishna. We want everything to be pleasing to Krishna. But at the same time, we want to share just the honest experience that we're having in this world with Krishna. And a lot of time that can be accomplished through creative expression. And we want to be in touch with, Prabhupada talks about the false ego, and which is something that we really wish to do away with. But he also talks about the real ego. He says that in one of his lectures, he says that I am actually continues to exist. We should never think that we lose our individuality, even as we advance spiritually, even in the spiritual world. So in the course of our creative expression, we may come in contact, most certainly, with the false ego, but also we have an opportunity to come in contact with our truer self and experience the existence of a deeper self that we strive to offer to Krishna, a self that Krishna knows and we are still discovering. And creativity is also a means of smaranam, remembrance as we move through life. How Krishna has been with us all along, how Krishna appears in our life, how Krishna's hand is visible across so many circumstances. And art can also be a form of sadhana. And Krishna loves variety. So each and every one of us has so many forms of creative expression, and we can offer Krishna that variety, knowing that there's a kaleidoscope of different entities who are Krishna's parts and parcels, and he's pleased by the variety that each and every one of us can offer him. He created us uniquely. So it's just a wonderful way to connect with Krishna through creativity as well. Madhavananda Prabhu, who is in Jagannath Puri, wonderful devotee based in Jagannath Puri, disciple of Gaur Govinda Swami Maharaj, he has a wonderful, wonderful presentation that is called All Arts Originate in the Rasa Leela. So it's a very high subject matter, but Prabhu speaks about it so beautifully, how all of the arts are coming from Krishna's Rasa Leela also. All of the dancing, all of the singing, all of the mudras, all of the different types of expression that are happening in that wonderful pastime. So I recommend for anyone to listen to that also. It's a wonderful, wonderful class. So as we see here in this final picture, there are so many ways of making offerings to Radha and Krishna, right? The Ashtasakis, the gopis, principal gopis in this picture, right? 2 are playing musical instruments. 3 are playing musical instruments, pardon. And the one on the far left is playing tambura, which means generally that she's also singing. And then one has prepared sweets for Radha and Krishna. One has prepared special articles for worship of Radha and Krishna. One has made a beautiful forest flower garland. One is writing poetry and verses to please Radha and Krishna. And one is carrying a water pot for Radha and Krishna. So many beautiful ways that we can try to serve Krishna and please Krishna according to our nature. So I'll stop here. Thank you so much. Apologies for going a little over time. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Wonderful class. So many hope-giving points you made, Prabhu, especially where we can offer to Krishna what may be considered not offerable yet, but we're just getting there. Thank you for making that point. Everybody's appreciating that. Damodar Priya has her hand up.
Yes, Damodar Priya, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Here, Dina Bandhu Prabhu. First, I just want to also, unrelated to this class, want to thank you for making it possible for Rukmini Prabhu to speak at the Bhakti Center and do those wonderful classes on spiritual care. We put them on her YouTube, and they've just been amazing. But I just wanted to thank you personally for that, and thank you so much for this class, because just like Bhima, anything to do with creativity, I really appreciate it. I've actually been struggling with it because as I've had some health problems and I'm in pain, a lot of times I just don't have the energy, just don't have the energy to feel like I can be creative. And as I was listening to your class, I told my husband, I was like, I think Krishna's trying to prompt me to like find some way, especially when you said that creativity can be smaranam, can be remembering Krishna, creativity can be that sadhana, that devotional service. So inspiring. I really, really love, and as Ananda Bihari Prabhu said, when you said everything sincere can be offered to Krishna, even our struggles. That's really beautiful and hope giving. And if there's time, I want Jamuna Jaya to go first because I know she has class at 8. But maybe afterwards, if you could tell us, I know that with your service as a chaplain, I would love to hear. I always love hearing your stories of how you've had some inspiring moment with somebody at their bedside. So if you have a moment, I would love to hear that. But again, Jamuna Jaya, please.
Thank you so much, Damodar Prabhu. Yeah, happy to share. Jamuna Jaya, Hare Krishna. I'm sorry, I can't hear you, Jamuna Jaya. I hope is it on my side?
No, I can't hear her either.
No, Jamuna Jaya, you have to type. You have to type your share.
I'm seeing the smile, and it speaks volumes. But yeah, if you're able to type, that would be wonderful.
Okay, Damodar Priya, you want to go?
No, I had asked if he could tell a story from like his chaplaincy.
Story, right? Heartfelt story, testimony. Okay, testimony. Let's see.
Should I share something at this time, or we can save it for the afterglow if others have comments?
Going. Yeah, she said she's not going to be able to do it.
Okay. So to share something related to creativity, Damodar Priya, what do you think?
Or anything. Yeah, you always have beautiful, inspiring stories of your chaplaincy. So anything that Krishna inspires in your heart to share, I'm sure.
Like share an offerable struggle.
An offerable struggle.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we can talk about that. Just one thing that popped into my mind, when you said that, an offerable struggle is, so two things. One is that a lot of the time, especially in kind of medical hospital chaplaincy, people who are going through very, very serious physical illness, or maybe people who are at the end of life, depending on, their own faith journey, sometimes they're experiencing a lot of bewilderment and anger. Just to be honest, they're experiencing a lot of bewilderment and anger toward the Lord. And it's something that's a very heavy feeling to encounter. But at the same time, when people share very honestly about it, when they have an outlet to share honestly about it, because also it's a feeling that's accompanied by a lot of shame. I mean, even in spiritual communities, whatever it is, where someone's feeling some anger or some difficult feelings toward the Supreme, it can be a stigmatized feeling. So when someone has the outlet to actually share honestly about it, I just remember meeting one guy, young guy. He was clearly very, very philosophical. He had thought a lot, grappled a lot with like big topics in this world. And he was telling me in the beginning of our encounter that he's an atheist. So of course, that's, in our work, you meet people of all different backgrounds. I would never, outwardly, not engage with someone or anything like that. There's still a lot of meaningful conversation to be had. So he said he's an atheist. Of course, he wasn't actually. By the end of the conversation, he was saying, I'm just so angry with God. He's so angry with God that he had kind of branded himself an atheist. But we talked about how in order to be angry at someone, generally it means that you have relationship with someone. you don't usually get angry at someone who you don't have, some relationship with. And he was, after expressing his anger, he said that he felt actually more connected with God than he had for many years, because he just had never really allowed himself to express those feelings. And in the expression of such feelings, there's engagement. The engagement is there again. And so we just talked about how, as Ananda Bihari Prabhu said, it's a very noble struggle to keep up dialogue with the Supreme, to continue talking, to continue the conversation, even when we have difficult feelings, or when we're feeling upset or betrayed or bewildered. So that's a very noble struggle, and I really admired that gentleman a lot for just being honest about his feelings, for sharing openly, and for sharing openly with Krishna, for sharing openly with the Lord about what he was feeling. As Damodar Priya Prabhu said, you can't be angry at someone you don't think exists. Yeah, otherwise you would just wash your hands of the whole experience, right? So so that's one. And then another story that comes to mind is, well, it's not a particular story, but these days I work a lot with people who are dealing with like very, very severe mental illness, living with like very chronic mental illness. And so often, especially those who have like insight into their mental illness, some do, some don't. I mean, all do to some degree, but some really are able to speak about it openly and have an understanding. And they will talk about how it's just been a struggle for them to stay positive and to stay encouraged in their life, and how so many of them give such beautiful examples of this. They're so giving. They're so eager to like reassure other people. They're giving what they are seeking also in their life. They're giving out care. They're giving out warmth and presence, and they're giving out encouragement so openly. And they've talked about how by doing that, they're able to feel that also more in their lives. So that's a very beautiful thing. And I just see that as such an admirable thing. And also as a way of going back to our topic today, living creatively. They're living creatively. They're, moving with the circumstances. As Prabhupada says so often, make the best of a bad bargain. So they're finding a way to be a light in others' lives. They're finding a way to give a positive presence to those who are in need, even when they're very much, presently in a difficult circumstance. So that's just something that came to mind.
Thank you, Dina Bandhu Prabhu. Wonderful answer. Perfect question, perfect answer. Would anyone like to speak? It's a wonderful subject. Creativity. What's your offering to Krishna? Krishna Daya Prabhu, there he is. We haven't heard from him in a long time.
Yeah, just
Are you struggling? Are you struggling, Krishna Daya Prabhu? Is it offerable to Krishna?
Yeah, of course. Just I'll be quick because darshan will open. Thank you, Prabhu. This creativity, one example what I have heard. In Kolkata, there is this every year they conduct Ratha Yatra. The 40th Ratha Yatra, the temple president went to Jayapatak Maharaj. So temple president asked, Jayapatak Maharaj said, what new are you doing this yatra? So he scratched his head. Yeah, what new am I doing? So the senior disciples of Srila Prabhupada, they have a way to engage people, not just do mechanically, but use your brain. What new are you doing to Srila Prabhupada? So this is like creativity smaranam. Thank you so much for reinforcing that point. Haribol.
Yeah. Offer your
Thank you
brain
very
to
much,
Krishna.
Prabhu.
Dina Prabhu, we're going to hear your offering during the afterglow. Jai. Okay, welcome to the afterglow. There's no censorship during the afterglow. I mean, there's compassion and compassion and sanity. Yeah. Okay, Bhima Prabhu, let's do it. Say it. Bhima Prabhu. Okay. All right. Okay. Bhima Prabhu. He's pranking us.
This is our loss. Really hoping that Bhima Prabhu
Yeah.
can come
Bhakti
back on.
Hugo has his
Bhakti
hand up.
Hugo Prabhu.
Hugo is stepping in. Yes. Go ahead, Bhakti Hugo Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for offering class. I was resonating with the point in the discussion with the atheist that if you're angry with someone, you have a relationship with them. And I was thinking how, a kind of just known thing in like relationship studies and the studies of marriages, it's like arguments happen in intimate relationships, disagreements happen. That's just how it goes. It's not the disagreements that end a relationship. It's when they fester and ferment behind masks and closed doors, behind manipulative words. And so in the same way, it's like, yeah, Krishna may disappoint us sometimes. Not because he's done something wrong, but because we have our expectations and we have our idea, oh, Krishna, you should be like this. So we should expect until we get to a very pure platform, we're going to have disappointments with Krishna. Sometimes he'll make us upset. Sometimes he'll make us angry. That in itself isn't like a black mark on our bhakti, but how we react to it. That's what'll uplift us or bring us down in bhakti. And so I'm reflecting on that point that, when we feel anger, that's not a bad sign. It's just a decision point of how we react next. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. I have an unsolicited relationship advice from C.S. Lewis. Hold on, let me read it. And then we'll tie it to today's discussion. Okay. When two people achieve lasting happiness, that is not solely because they are great lovers, but because they are also, I must put it crudely, good people, controlled, loyal, fair-minded, mutually adaptable people. So that's us and Krishna. When Krishna is testing us, we should adapt. We should be open to adaptations, right? We should be fair-minded, loyal to Krishna, and then the relationship will be good, right? Are you validating this point in the Bandhu Prabhu?
Oh, absolutely, Prabhu. Yeah, thank you for sharing. And the C.S. Lewis quote came flying in, and I like Ananda Manjari said, "I'm not sure I'm ready for it." It was really, it was wonderful, and it made me think of something that Jayadvaita Swami Maharaj said to me one time. He said, well, you have to embrace your circumstances, because even if you don't, they're still going to embrace you. So, we have, whatever circumstance comes up in our life, we try to do it as, as C.S. Lewis said, a good person. We approach it in a fair mood. And thank you, Bhakti Hugo Prabhu. Thank you for sharing so nicely. Appreciate it.
Okay, Bhima Prabhu, are you ready? Absentee class attendance by Bhima Prabhu.
One day I'm going to get you.
Oh, he's here. Hare Krishna, Bhima Prabhu.
Sorry about that. I've got 2,000-pound animals in hand, and it's really hard to pick up the phone. Hold on 1 second here. I was in a class, online class, and there is a friend. Hold on, let me find it. There is a friend who wrote a poem. Him and I discuss. He was formerly from Palestine, and he's very upset about what's going on there. He shares a lot, and we share back and forth as writers. And he wrote this after we had a long discussion, and you will see elements of the things that we discussed within the poem, but I will read it for you because I felt very inspired by it. Here it goes. It's called, Are You There? Are you there? That I should be so bold. Do you not sit in the hearts of everyone? I cannot see the way. I cannot make out the map you draw. Does everyone find the way to paradise? That little one, dry as the rubble he kneels in, hair and face gray with the ashes of his world burning, not a drop of water from the iron pipe, all cut off from the other side. Are you there? Some say they see you everywhere. Are you there? Those little white bags. Is this a war upon children? That father, that mother, that look in their eyes. All they can do is to cry out your name over and over. And they say you are there in your name, and that their child has preceded them to paradise. Is this the way we go by? Are you there? Is this a dream? Will I awake instead when I come to die? Send me back then. I pray to be amongst them, to tell them that all their cries are the key, that your name is the key, that their broken hearts are the gates, that paradise is opening, and that you indeed are there, and that you indeed are here now with all these children on the other side, amongst the rubble and the ashes and the burning and the thirst, and that you are softly whispering, awake, awake. So this was a result of speaking spiritual matters with a Sufi. He's a Sufi, and we got together because he also loved Rumi and mystical poetry. And he wrote this for some of his relatives and some of his nieces and nephews that are no longer in this world. And I just thought I'd share that because I was very moved by this. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Bhima Prabhu. Yeah, thank you. That was just very, very moving. Incredible poem. And I'm so sorry for your friend's losses and for what he's going through and for the circumstances of the world right now. And, you know, I was surprised by the reconciliation at the end. It seemed initially to be just a very honest statement of anger and bewilderment and uncertainty. And then to see the reconciliation at the end was very heart-touching and kind of took me by surprise in hearing that. So sincere. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Thank you, Bhima Prabhu. Yeah, heartfelt and moving. Speaking of offerable struggle, you know, choosing to see the Lord in the struggle. That's where we're going with our bhakti path.
Yes. Yes.
Would anyone like to speak? One last speaker. One last.
Ananda Manjari.
Ananda
Ananda
Manjari had a
Manjari.
hand, I saw.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I wasn't sure if I want to speak just because I felt like the poem was such a beautiful possible ending to the sharing, but since I was called, I will share. And my reflection from the lecture, and still not wanting to take away from that resonance of what was just shared, is simply how looking for beauty or allowing ourselves or even training our vision to see beauty in the world is a service, and how it's actually not separate from the acknowledgement that this place is also a place of suffering and it's also a place of misery, and simultaneously it is a choice and always an opportunity to serve, to see the beauty in that as well, and to connect with Krishna through this. And in a way, I feel like it even adds to the beauty to know that it's surrounded in this context of misery in a way. So I wanted to add this reflection, and I'm sorry for taking away from the poem a little bit.
Hare Krishna. No, thank you so much, Ananda Manjari. Yeah, you didn't take away from the poem at all. I mean, you're just emphasizing the point even more strongly, and how wonderful, that you can speak about carrying in both hands the misery and suffering of this world and also its beauty. It's a very paradoxical scenario for so many of us that can be so bewildering and difficult. And it's just wonderful how eloquently and naturally you just spoke about carrying both of those sensations side by side. So I really, really appreciate that. And yeah, this is something that's exemplified by so many advanced souls in this world and so many advanced devotees. They're able to acknowledge the sufferings of this world while at the same time experience joy and bliss and beauty in this world. So thank you very, very much. Really appreciate hearing from you always.
Yeah. Okay, would anyone else like to speak? One last speaker. Okay. All right. Have a wonderful, fulfilling Sunday. See the beauty. See the struggle. See Krishna behind both. Create for Krishna.
And let's
Express
be
yourself.
creative in our kindness.
Yeah, be kind. Yeah, don't forget to be kind. Okay. Dina, Bandhu, wonderful class. Thank you very much. Thanks everyone who participated, including Bhima Prabhu. And thanks humanity at large. If you're watching on YouTube, we love you. Come join on Zoom one day. Become part of the group. Okay, Hare Krishna. Happy Sunday. Goodbye.